Do you remember September? Oh, it seems like it was yesterday. Welcome to October 1st of 2024 with Mike Smith, the icon. I'm Dan Ramey, and Mr. Hand2 is off to our side here. There we go. He gets closer and closer to the camera. It's amazing.
Yeah, he wants more FaceTime instead of hand time. Oh, my.
Welcome to the program. We have a number of things to share with you today in the way of sports, news. Of course, the big story in the sports world is the passing of one Peter Edward Rose, the hit king.
Yeah. He was out in Nevada, probably either Las Vegas or Reno or something like that.
It's my understanding he appeared at an event just the night before. Mm-hmm. There was a photo that I saw that had King Griffey Sr. in it, Tony Perez, Dave Concepcion, and one other of the Reds, Big Red Machine that was there. In the words of Marty Brenneman, I don't know how to respond.
Yeah.
I've lost my two best friends in baseball, Joe Morgan and Pete Rose. So we'll talk more in depth about it a little bit later on in the program. But first, let's take a look at what the forecast is doing for us today. I saw sunshine yesterday. It was amazing.
For a little bit, yeah. But we are still talking about the possibility of some scattered showers this afternoon and early evening. But that should end by Wednesday with sunshine most of the rest of the week with a high 75. And then Thursday on, probably low to mid-70s for your high temperature.
I like it. I can handle it.
If I was going to mow the yard this afternoon, if it wasn't going to rain, so now I'm kind of in limbo. I might have to wait till tomorrow because it hasn't been mowed in a month.
I haven't mowed my grass since July 8th of 2024.
Yeah. I mean, there was practically no grass, but it's amazing what 6 to 7 inches of rain in a short period of time can do for your lawn.
Yeah. But that's not the reason I haven't mowed it. The back.
The back.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Dan Jr.'s been taking care of things for me. So.
I was picking up sticks yesterday from the trees, shedding branches and so forth from the wind that we got.
Mm-hmm. I did some of that as well. I try not to bend over too much, but I managed to get some of them out of the way so that the car doesn't crunch over them when you drive through and everything. Mm-hmm. I know some people don't drive through their yards, but I went to my father-in-law's house yesterday, and we met on the lane. I had to deliver some food to them, and as I was going down the lane, he was coming up the lane, and so we stopped and talked for a little bit. I said, "Where are you going?" He says, "Going to the mailbox." I said, "Okay, I got food for you. I'm going to go on to the house." So I parked to where he wouldn't, be blocked out from where he parks under his carport. And I saw these tire tracks through the yard. Who's driving through his yard? He is.
Whatever.
And I said, "Dad, I parked over here so you wouldn't have to drive through your yard." He's doing what he wants to do.
Everybody else stay off his lawn, but if he wants to drive on it, he can do it.
When I'm in my late 70s, I'm going to do what I want to do too,
yeah.
if I make it that far. All right, just ahead, we'll get you caught up to date with news. But first, let's tell you about the people that have been keeping me straight, and that is Haynes Total Health Care Center, chiropractic, physical therapy, nutritional needs. They can take care of it all. When you click on this ad, when you see it at LitterMedia.com, it takes you to their website, and that's HaynesHealth.com. Each week, we'll announce the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union. And in December, we'll announce the Player of the Year. Nominate any amateur athlete by visiting LitterMedia.com and click on Player of the Week. You'll also see the players we've named throughout the year. Make your nomination today for the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union.
Whenever I first applied for the Archways opportunity, do I have to pay this back? Do I have to do that? Is it a loan? And it's not. It's a scholarship. A goal of mine is to graduate college debt-free. If you're a crew member, you get $2,500 a year, and if you're a manager, you get $3,000. And especially if you're going locally to college, to the branch or something like that, it's really helpful.
Discover Ross County. From the breathtaking outdoor adventures to the historic sights of Chillicothe and family-friendly events and festivals. Explore more at visitchillicotheohio.com or download the free mobile app today.
It is time to jump into beneficial news you can use. Stuff you need to hear, stuff you need to know. You can find it all on our website. That's littermedia.com. Entered a couple of stories today that we are not going to talk about yet. We're going to save these for tomorrow's program, right?
Yeah, there's two I put on, I think one or two that you put on. So.
But there are things that you'll find when you look not only on our website, but also here on our social media, on Facebook, as well as Litter Media X. You'll find all of the links to that up in the right-hand corner of the screen you're looking at now if you're not listening to Litter Media Radio. And if you are, you'll find these stories.
Yeah. If you're done, I'll go. Talking a moment ago about picking up sticks. Well, everybody in Southern Ohio is doing that. And as a result, the Chillicothe Yard Waste Site on Renick Avenue will remain open daily this week, allowing for storm debris cleanup. That's Monday through Friday, dawn to dusk. If you cannot make it to Renick Avenue and need to schedule a pickup, call the city at 773-9715, or you can email yardwaste@chillicotheoh.gov.
Who would have ever thought yard waste would have an email?
Right.
I wonder if it checks it every day.
We've come a long way.
It's amazing, yes. The city of Portsmouth now would like the citizens to have debris and waste from the flood to put it where they usually put their trash. So the city will fervently work on getting it picked up as quickly as they possibly can. Of course, they had far different issues than we had here, just with that backup of water and everything that was going towards the river. We visited yesterday with Janet Netter. She is the executive director of Blossom House Bureau of Domestic Violence, which is in its infancy. They're about a year and a half old. She shared details about their upcoming candlelight vigil this Saturday evening inside Yoctangi Park.
Our candlelight vigil is actually honoring those that have passed away through domestic violence. We're honoring them. We're honoring their families. We're honoring the community because it's really, really important not to forget who they are. We actually have the names. We have sent letters out to their families to see if they want to talk about their just what their loved ones mean to them, because just because someone's passed away from domestic violence, it doesn't stop there. Normally, the family feels guilty of, I wish I could have done something, and they don't have to carry that. So we like to honor them.
Again, the vigil is Saturday evening, begins with a social gathering at 6 o'clock, and then the vigil itself will take place at 6:30. That's at the Lions Shelter in Yoctangi Park.
Tonight is the Ross County League of Women Voters Candidates Night. Doors will open at 6:30 p.m. at Ohio University Chillicothe Stevenson Center. They'll also have light refreshments available for those in attendance.
Back to Saturday events again. Coming up, it's Take Back the Strip Cruise In from 5 until 9 p.m. up in Circleville. Donations can be made between 5 to 8 p.m. You can find them at the Old Mill on South Court Street in Circleville.
Thought you were going to break out and down by the... Stop. Before we have to pay for it.
The Old Mill Stream.
Yeah. Ohio's minimum wage is going to go up again in 2025. Starting January 1st, it goes up to $10.70 per hour for non-tipped employees and $5.35 for tipped employees, such as waitresses or waiters. The minimum wage will apply to employees of businesses with annual gross receipts of more than $394,000. The current Ohio minimum wage is $10.45 per hour for non-tipped employees and $5.25 for tipped employees.
You know, coming up pretty soon is going to be School Bus Safety Week, which will have visitors in from the Ohio State Highway Patrol to talk about. But Chillicothe Police have posted on their social media advisories on rules of the road concerning motorists encountering school buses. On a road with fewer than 4 lanes, all traffic approaching a stopped school bus from either direction must stop at least 10 feet from the front or rear of the bus and remain stopped until the bus begins to move or the bus driver signals motorists to proceed. If the bus is stopped on the street with 4 or more lanes, only traffic proceeding in the same direction as the bus must stop. I will tell you that I haven't had a lot of experience of traveling during bus hours just due to the fact that we worked mornings for so long and usually working beyond when school was let out. But yesterday I was on my way home and right in Niption, it's always a tough read for me. They'll flash the yellow lights and as you're approaching, you slow down and it's like they keep going and eventually they put the red lights on. I wish they would put the red lights on before they stop. I think that would help travelers, at least me anyway. I can't speak for everybody else.
United Way of Ross County has awarded Ross County Community Action Commission a special needs grant to help support their sewer connection project at the new Community Resource Center on Eastern Avenue. This critical project will improve facilities and help serve the 80-plus individuals and families, the CRCCs, each day.
The CRCCs? I like that. Hocking County Flu shots are available daily from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. October 8th, which is coming up next Tuesday, they'll be available from 4 until 6 p.m.
It's getting to be time for the 19th annual Officer Larry Cox Turkey Trot. Pre-registration and race day registration is October the 28th at 9 a.m. Pre-registration is available online only, so that's the only difference there. Pre-registration deadline to allow for race day eve pickup of shirts is Monday, November the 18th, not October. Online registration is over at 11:59 p.m. on November the 27th, and you'll not be able to order shirts after November the 18th. Check their Southern Ohio Crime Stoppers Facebook site to get more information. Our road report, a landslide repair project down in Pike County. This is State Route 772 between McKinney Road and State Route 124. Work's going on daily. They're using temporary traffic signals during the duration of that project, which should finish up sometime this fall.
I noticed a lot of cleanup continuing. Today I drove across Blaine Highway, and the Ross County Service Group was out picking up not just limbs, but they were chewing up a lot of the trees that have fallen. I couldn't believe how many trees were down on Blaine Highway. It's incredible. And in areas that you probably wouldn't think that wind would have struck.
Was talking to a gentleman in a restaurant yesterday who lives or has a business on Blaine Highway, and he said, from all of my travel north, he said, we seem to have gotten it worse than a lot of places on Blaine Highway. So.
Yeah. And that's along this line in the Huntington Hills that went up towards Summit Hill. And that's where I saw Friday on my way home that there was a number of things happening, debris all over the place. Well, by the time I got to Morgan Fork Road, it looked like it had snowed leaves and debris. I mean, you just couldn't see any pavement because of so much debris there. So, but there are folks who suffered far more difficult damage than we did here. All right, coming up, a look at sports, remembering who is now a true legend. Details coming up in a moment. Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is your trusted comfort advisor. If you click on this ad anywhere you see it on our website, littermedia.com, it takes you to accuratehvac.com to find out the service territories, which it's expansive here in Southern Ohio, but also the services they provide as well. Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652. Might be a chance you need a dumpster because of all the debris that has fallen in your area due to the storms. That's maybe personal, but if you need it for your business as well, you need to call Scioto Valley Dumpsters, 740-253-8389 for Scioto Valley Dumpsters.
It's sports.
Sports.
And you've got the lead, partner.
I've got the lead?
Yes, sir.
Not often do I get the lead. Pete Rose, passing at the age of 83. Despite being banned from the National Baseball Hall of Fame, Rose ended his career as Major League Baseball's all-time hits leader. He was on 3 World Series championship teams. He appeared in 6 World Series. I'd forgotten about that. He was the World Series MVP of the 1975 win for the Reds over the Red Sox. He was National League MVP, 1969, I think, and had a couple of Gold Gloves. And 1999, he was named to the Major League Baseball's All-Century team.
He was also the Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, yes. I figured you had some of these that you were going to share.
No.
But
that's why I gave you.
I didn't realize I had the lead story. But he was entered into the Reds Hall of Fame in 2016, and that's also the same year that they retired the number 14. The man born on February 14th.
You heard how he got his nickname Charlie Hustle, right?
Yes.
Who was it that nicknamed him?
It was one of the Dodgers, wasn't it?
Mm-mm. They were playing in spring training against the New York Yankees. And his first at bat,
Mickey
he
Mantle
drew a walk, and he sprinted to first base. And Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford sitting in the dugout said, "Look at there, look at Charlie Hustle."
Yeah.
And it stuck.
Yeah. A lot of stories that Pete shared over the years. We'll get to more sports in a moment. But did you ever have any encounters with Pete?
2 or 3 interviews with him, yeah.
Okay. Last time he was here in Chillicothe that I remember was 1996, which was a couple of years after he had been imprisoned for tax evasion. Mm-hmm. He was a guest of the Chillicothe Paints, who was holding their Winter Fest. You remember those celebrations they had? He was the speaker for that, and he he said about his travel down 104. I want to thank Brian Wickline for making me feel at home as I drove past the Ross Correctional Institute in Chillicothe. Correctional Institute kind of brought the house down just to kind of warm the crowd as he started speaking to them. But, I said Winterfest. I believe the Winterfest was King Griffey Sr. Pete was here during the summertime because the Paints were actually playing and working out. But I back during the days when I had worked in Central Ohio, he came to Columbus as a part of the Reds Radio Network gathering at the High Lie restaurant. You remember the old High Lie? And he arrived late. Everybody had their seats and everything, and he came. Chip Arledge and I were there. He came and sat at our table. There were no empty seats but the one next to me. And so he sat next to me, and we were hearing all kinds of, he was cutting up, having a good time with us, despite the fact that he was probably flying from Cincinnati to Columbus in a car. But the mark he left on the game that he never will be enshrined.
Yeah.
It's just a horrible shame.
He is in the Reds Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and if you walk around Cooperstown, from what I'm told, he is everywhere in the National Hall of Fame, just not as a Hall of Fame member.
Right. So. Of the 3 interviews I think I did with Pete, the one that was the most memorable was their media launch for the Winter Caravan. Mm-hmm. It was the day the space shuttle blew up.
Oh, my.
We were in the middle of our interview, and somebody came in and said, the space shuttle just blew up. And Pete said, okay, what's the joke? And they said, no, it's on television. Mm. So the interview ended, and we all walked in and were watching it on TV in the banquet room. So,
I recall when I was working in Columbus, and the Ohio Cup was becoming a thing, and this was during preseason baseball. This was the year that he was under such scrutiny, and he came out to the dugout, and there must have been 50 members of the media standing there and asking questions of him, and he just wouldn't respond. He had a baseball, he was kind of throwing it up in the air, and then it came time for him to meet with, I think Pat Corrales was the manager of the Indians at the time, and they met out of the field by the trophy, did a little photo op, that kind of thing. His expression had changed. He was happy. He was talking with Pete, and then, or Pat, and then they went back again to the dugout, and it was the same thing, emotionless all the way there, and it looked like, a herd of cats following, feeding time. But he gave them nothing to chew on.
Of course, he and Pat were teammates.
Right.
For a while there, because Pat Corrales was Johnny Bench's backup. But sad day yesterday, losing Charlie Hustle at the age of 83. High school sports, sectional golf final for Division I yesterday. Sheridan won the team championship at Crown Hill with a 319, but all of those, and again, we're talking to people also on our radio audience that can't see it, Chillicothe, Marietta, and Warren were also district qualifiers. The Cavs were 2 strokes back of Sheridan. Now, down at the bottom of our screen there, Aiden Fisher of Chillicothe was the medalist. Of course, he qualifies with the team with a 72. But the individual district qualifiers not on a qualifying team, and I'm blocked out by the camera, Dan, so help me on the left.
Connor Kelch from Hillsboro. Garrison Markham from Jackson.
And Engage Monday of Logan. That was a tag team effort there. There are more. Now, actually, district golf gets underway at some of the courses today. The one exception is the Division III that was scheduled for Elks Country Club in Scioto County. That had to be moved to Thursday because of the flooding problems down there. But there are 1 or 2 other district matches that are going on today. And, of course, littermedia.com will have those results later today. Some non-conference sports last night in boys soccer. Bloom Carroll, who tied a match last week, lost for the first time last night, losing to Logan 3-1. Hillsboro beat Eastern Brown, Lakewood over Amanda, Gallia Academy beat Fairland, and Northwest over Chesapeake. A number of other matches we couldn't get scores on. Girls side, Rosecrans beats Amanda, Fairland over Gallia Academy. Northwest and Chesapeake tied at 4, and Eastern Brown over Hillsboro. Volleyball action last night in non-conference. Miami Trace beat Logan Elm. Bloom Carroll over Watterson in 5, but Watterson is very good, but Bloom got him in 5.
Is better.
Yeah. Fisher Catholic over Harvest Prep. Wheelersburg beat Gallia Academy. Minford over Eastern. That's in Pike Eastern. Oak Hill was a winner, so was Vinton County, Lynchburg Clay, and Fairfield. And the final regular season girls tennis match for Chillicothe last night, they lost to Lancaster by a score of 3-2, but Bella Flores remains undefeated as an individual. Now their tournament play gets underway here in the next several days.
Bella, 18-0 on the season. She's the number 1 seed in the Central District Tournament. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And our Litter Media radio game of the week this Friday night, a battle of conference unbeatens.
We go up to Bloom Carroll as the Logan Elm Braves take on Bloom Carroll Bulldogs. We're scheduled to speak with Terry Holbert today and tomorrow with Jeremy McKinney. So we'll have both coaches for this week's Litter Media Game of the Week preview show on Thursday at noon.
And we believe it'll be dry for Friday night.
And we believe also that it'll be played Friday night.
Yes.
And not have to do any more Saturday morning games. Yeah. So really unique, though, that you got to go and see other games, other places, I was on the way home listening to Chillicothe and Washington Courthouse as that game was coming to a close after our game was done. So, all right, just ahead, this date in history. What year are we dialed up for?
We're talking about radio and the concept of it in 1920. Not there yet.
We'll learn from Mr. History next.
There's no bill when there's a fill. Contact Litter Quality Propane today about our metered gas service at litterpropane.com.
Are you looking for a beer that satisfies your thirst and love of country? Armed Forces Brewing Company brews beer for patriots. Celebrate freedom with every sip. Armed Forces Brewing Company. Freedom never tasted so good.
Now that's one fast mower. Take command of your lawn with Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our Kingston National Bank mobility app today.
As a basketball coach and a dad, I need to be able to keep up.
Mark came to the Adina Orthopedic and Spine Institute in severe arm pain from a degenerative disc.
I was so confident in Dr. Fleming, he explained everything.
Together, they decided on minimally invasive spinal surgery to relieve Mark's pain and get him back to what matters most. At Adina, we do what we love, so you can too.
Time to put on your thinking caps and visit with Mr. History, the icon, Mike Smith.
A bit of science on this date in 1920. Scientific American magazine reports that the rapidly developing medium of radio would soon be used to broadcast music. A revolution in the role of music in everyday life was about to be born. Arguments about radio's origins persist to this day, but its basic workings had been understood for upwards of 20 years at the time of this announcement. It was only in the years immediately following World War I, however, that radio made the transition from scientific curiosity to practical technology was just another several years away. KDKA in Pittsburgh was the first to go on the air in 1927. But I can't answer the question as to whether they were playing music on their first day on the radio. KDKA has mostly been known as a
talk radio
over the years, and probably even back then.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, when we started doing the history of WBEX back when we were getting ready for the 60th birthday, gosh, they're closing in on, are they 75 now?
70, well, we're... Actually, that should have been...
1947 is when they went on the air.
2022 would have been...
That'd have been 75.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember reading a story. Of course, again, we're talking about music on radio. Mm-hmm. Bing Crosby sued because radio stations were playing his songs.
Forgetting it's a possibility that people might buy those songs.
Because at that time, he thought it would take away from sales of the records. Yeah. And then... I don't know whether the light bulb went over his head or how that came about, but he later recanted or withdrew that suit. And of course, it was probably soon after that licensing fees, because in radio, for every song you play, I mean, you don't do it every time a song plays, but every so many times, I don't know if it was once or twice a year, I had to do these BMI logs. Seems like it was once a year. We had to fill out this long report as to what kind of music we were playing and what we were playing that week. I mean, the specific songs.
Right.
And somehow that averaged out to royalties for the songwriters.
It's unfortunate that you didn't get in on the digital side of things, because eventually they basically had you... the systems that were used to play the music off of hard drives, they had programmed it in there to be able to just spit out, okay, this group of songs played this date to this date, that range, and then it prints out the whole report for you.
I missed out on a lot of this. I had to do the transmitter logs. You had to do that remotely. It came along later. The EAS test, I think that's all done remotely now. So.
And when we lost you, guess who assumed all those duties?
Yeah, lucky you.
Yeah. I can't tell you how much I love being here at Litter Media.
Well, we don't have to do that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
The difference between terrestrial radio and online radio.
Yeah. I was starting to talk about WBEX's original programming, there was a lot of live music that was performed during all that. And I saw the breakdown. Chillicothe Gazette began printing what you could hear on, then there were, I think they used WLW, they used one of the stations in Columbus, and then they added WBEX to the lineup. So just like you see TV listings, they had the radio listings at the time. And then thinking about Bing Crosby, apparently someone got a hold of him and said, listen, you can make money at doing this. And he's like, well, who's going to hear what we're playing on the radio? And then I imagine there was someone saying, this TV thing, that's not going to go anywhere, you know? And now it's like, TV thing, let's go with the internet.
Right.
You know? It's amazing how we've seen media transform over the years.
Of course, we were talking about music being used on the radio, but throughout the 30s and throughout the 40s, a lot of what you heard were radio programs, soap operas, mysteries. I just wonder what the percentage of those kind of programs were to just hearing music. I mean, there was music being played, but I don't know what the balance was there. So.
Yeah. The interesting thing, we ran a program called When Radio Was, and it was really interesting to hear a lot of those old programs being rebroadcast on this special feature that we had on WBEX, which came to an end. I don't remember why, but I don't know if the network pulled it or ownership pulled it. I'm not certain.
Well, when our show started, Dan and Mike, we were playing music, but it became that we weren't playing any music. It became like full talk. I can't remember what year that was that we started doing it that way.
Gosh, that might have been... Well, we were still up on the hill, so that would have been before 2000. So sometime in that area, probably 98, 99, we started doing more interviews. But, man, it got to a point where I think I totaled up one day, just an estimate, Teays Valley math, of having done 25,000 interviews because there was a point where I was doing, in many instances, 5 a day. And just phone conversations with people from all around, in some instances, all around the world, promoting books and interviews and self-help and all that kind of stuff. And we just got away from playing music.
Yeah.
So,
well, which is talk radio.
Precisely.
We had the syndicated programming afterwards, and there was no music there either. So it might have been somewhere in that area.
It got to a point where the only music you were hearing was the bumper music going from commercial to whatever. So, all right. Hey, there's a Dan and Mike radio moment for you.
Absolutely.
We haven't done one of those for a while. So, all right. Coming up tomorrow, back at it again with another edition of Litter Media Live. That will be right at 11 o'clock or thereabouts. Usually because it's my fault.
Aaron just rolled his eyes.
Do we have any special editions tomorrow?
No, none tomorrow.
Mike says no. So let's just double check
and I think
just to
I
make
looked
sure.
At Thursday, and I'm not, other than the preview show, I don't think we have.
We had a proposed special edition tomorrow, but that had to be.
There is one Thursday morning.
Rescheduled.
Yes, there is one Thursday.
Yes.
Danny Boggs.
Yes, Danny Boggs will be here. He'll be our first contestant.
Will he dance while he's on the air?
We should move the desk out of the way and have him dance.
Or he could dance on the table.
Yeah.
We'd have to reposition the camera for him to be able to see that.
But wouldn't be too hard.
He's the first of the contestants for the Dance for Kids' Sake competition, which is coming up on October 12th. That's a Saturday night. And we'll learn more about Dance for Kids' Sake and how it's impacting Danny Boggs right now. Isn't he called the car doctor or something like that?
I think that's right.
For Hernstein. So then, of course, we'll have Thursday the preview show for our Litter Media Game of the Week. And coming up soon, the folks at Texas Roadhouse, they are doing a special fundraising event for Big Brothers Big Sisters. And we'll have some of their people in next week to talk about what they're doing. It is a eating competition. It's between first responders. And they're going to have this big blowout set up, everything on October 12th. Looking forward to that. And we'll see how that goes. And hopefully the first responders don't need first responders to help them because they're choking on something, that kind of thing. Slow down, but just
don't become the news
finish
story.
it. Precisely. All right, that's it for the program today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening if you're listening on Litter Media Radio. For Mike Smith and Mr. Hand 2, Aaron Glandon, I'm Dan Ramey. Enjoy the rest of your day.